Hey guys, I am here with the video that I promised you that was supposed to happen over the weekend, but I had some difficulties and had to change it. So I am doing it now. And I know that at one point I had promised you guys a video about Memory Maker, and I promised that video was still coming, but my brother-in-law came up with a perfect idea of, with all the stuff going on with March Madness and everything that's happening, that Disney Pixar bracket has been circulating the social media sites and has caused quite an uproar. And so we thought it would be fun if I did a video where I told you my winners and I explained why I chose them, and then we could have some discussion about it in the comments section. So without further ado, this is what the bracket looks like. I don't want you to get too much of an idea of what I chose, but you can find it online if you want to fill it out yourself. But it's a lot of fun. So the first matchup that they created, one side is Disney and one side is Pixar. So we'll start with the Disney side and then we'll move over to the Pixar side. So the first matchup they created was The Lion King and Tarzan. Both are phenomenal movies, both have great storylines, both have music that was sang and created by amazing artists. Tarzan has Phil Collins and Lion King has a lot of music from Elton John, and they're both fabulous. But for me, the story of Lion King and the music in Lion King is so much more fun and entertaining than the story of Tarzan. So for me, Lion King beats Tarzan. The next matchup they have is The Princess and the Frog and Lilo and Stitch. So this one for me, one of the things I think Disney is amazing at is their music. And so I'm always going to pick a Disney movie with good music. And so Lilo and Stitch has a lot of Elvis music, but it doesn't really have much else in the way of music. Whereas one thing I think that The Princess and the Frog gets overlooked for is their music. It's so much fun. Like, you can't help but sing along and dance and have a good time. So for me, The Princess and the Frog wins this one. The next matchup is Tangled and Big Hero 6. Again, for me, everything with Disney is about the music. That's what connects you to a Disney movie. That's what makes the Disney movie so special. It's actually what I think a lot of times separates a Disney movie from a Pixar movie. Although there is some great music in Pixar movies, I think that Disney has always kind of led the charge with that. And so because of that, even though the Big Hero 6 story is amazing and I love the storyline, Tangled wins out for me on this one. The next matchup is Frozen and Moana. This one can be a very controversial matchup because people are very passionate about Frozen and have slowly become very passionate about Moana. So, for me, I began to break it down musically because, again, that's kind of where my heart lies in Disney. And as I was thinking about it and realizing what songs in Disney's Moana and Disney's Frozen that I connected to more, I realized very quickly that I was more connected to the Moana song. So for me, as controversial as it may be, Moana beats Frozen. Not only that, but there is no sort of love story whatsoever in Moana. It is all about her saving her island and being a strong and independent woman, which I think is something that our young girls could have to look up to. So Moana wins for me on that one. The next matchup they have is Aladdin and Hercules. This one was really difficult for me because I love both of these movies. They both have excellent music. They're both great storylines and a lot of fun and have a lot of redeeming qualities about characters. They both have very strong women characters in them. But for me, the strong woman character in Hercules beats out Aladdin's Jasmine only because Meg has some amazing one-liners that just make you laugh and that you can't help but repeat. So for me, Hercules wins this one. The next matchup is Little Mermaid and Pocahontas. For me, this was really easy. I love the movie Pocahontas, but I have always loved The Little Mermaid. It's what connected me to Disney to begin with. Plus, it won lots of different awards for music and a lot of different things. So for me, The Little Mermaid wins this one. The next matchup they have is Mulan and Zootopia. For me, this was a no-brainer. Zootopia was not a movie that I greatly enjoyed. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't one of my favorites. So for me, Mulan wins this one easily, hands down. Very strong, independent female character. Though she does fall in love like many other Disney females, it's still a great movie. Zootopia is a good movie. It's just not my favorite. The next matchup is Beauty and the Beast and Nightmare Before Christmas. I actually think this is a completely unfair matchup because these two movies don't have anything in common. They aren't even in the same realm, really. And if you ask me, Nightmare Before Christmas doesn't really stand a chance against Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast won tons of awards, one of them being for Best Motion Picture, and Nightmare Before Christmas just doesn't come close. I do love the movie, I think it's wonderful, but as far as I'm concerned, Beauty and the Beast wins this one. So, going back up to the top of my bracket, in the two at the top, it puts me with Lion King and The Princess and the Frog against each other. And though I love Princess and the Frog and I think the music is amazing, The Lion King still wins out for me. It's a classic story, everybody knows it, there's something for everyone in it, and you can't help but love it. So The Lion King wins out for me on that one. My next matchup is Tangled and Moana. This was very difficult for me because I enjoy the music in both movies a lot, but Moana's storyline and the way that she is independent, and like I said before, she's the one helping to save her island. It's just a much more redeeming story for me than Rapunzel and getting out of her tower and finding a man and falling in love and finding out she's a princess. So for me, Moana is the winner here. Then I've got Hercules and Little Mermaid. This again was really hard for me, but because of my connection to The Little Mermaid and my bias towards it, I'm not gonna lie, The Little Mermaid wins out for me. This is what connected me to Disney in the first place, so that's why The Little Mermaid beats out Hercules. And then I've got Mulan and Beauty and the Beast. Though Mulan beats Zootopia for me, Mulan does not come close to Beauty and the Beast. I very much love that movie, and it is, like I said, it's won tons of awards for music and Best Motion Picture and all kinds of other things, so for me it beats Mulan hands down. So that then back up to the top brings us Lion King and Moana. This is no competition. There's absolutely no competition between Lion King and Moana. Though the music is great in both, the Lion King story is classic. The Lion King story is what draws people in, no matter how old you are or what gender, there's something for everyone. So Lion King is my winner there. Then I've got Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. Again, I love both movies equally. They've both won tons of awards. I'm obviously more connected to The Little Mermaid than I am Beauty and the Beast, but really what did it for me is what a lot of people don't know is when Little Mermaid came out, Disney was struggling. Their animation movies were not doing as well as they had hoped. They were starting to financially struggle, and The Little Mermaid actually pulled them out of that struggle. So even though Beauty and the Beast won a few more awards than The Little Mermaid did, because The Little Mermaid rescued Disney from demise and falling apart, The Little Mermaid wins out for me on this one. So that puts Little Mermaid and Lion King up against each other for me, which was really hard because, again, I love Little Mermaid and it did save Disney from collapse, but Lion King is still the one that everyone can connect to. If you say Lion King, there's not many people who haven't seen that movie, where you can still find some people who haven't seen Little Mermaid, but they probably should watch it. Anyway, so Lion King wins the Disney side for me. So now let's jump over to the Pixar side. So the first matchup in Pixar is Disney Pixar's Up and Disney Pixar's Brave. This was not a competition for me at all because Brave is the single Disney Pixar movie that I have wanted to walk out on. I don't know what it was about it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't connect to it. I didn't like the music. I didn't like the storyline. I didn't really enjoy Merida as a princess. So for me, like, the storyline in Up totally overpowers Brave. And then they paired Toy Story and Toy Story 2 against each other. Anytime you pair a sequel up against the original's going to win. I mean, to me, that's not even a competition because Toy Story had to exist before Toy Story 2 ever could. So how does the second one beat it? Toy Story's the winner there. And then they put Coco and Cars 3. I love both movies. Both movies made me cry. Both movies really drew me in. But for me, the music in Coco connected me to that movie so much more. And so Coco is my winner over Cars 3. Then we have Toy Story 3 and The Good Dinosaur. Both great movies. For me, though, Toy Story 3 wins this, and this is why. Though The Good Dinosaur is a great movie, it is a lot like The Lion King, storyline-wise, so it kind of felt like a ripoff there. And then the other part I didn't really like about it was there was this one part where they are in the woods and they are eating these fruits and they go on this crazy trip, and it's really weird, and it totally just threw the whole movie off because it had nothing to do with anything, and I don't really know that it was important. So Toy Story 3 wins for that one. Then I've got Ratatouille and Bug's Life. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have never seen Ratatouille, and so because of that, there's really no way for me to compare the two. I have a general idea of what Ratatouille is about, but because I've never seen it, Bugs Life automatically wins for me. I've seen that movie several times and I love the characters in it. And the ride at the show at Animal Kingdom is a lot of fun. So if you haven't been, or you have, and you have friends who haven't and they're going on a trip with you, make sure that they ride it because it's fun to watch people's reactions. And then the next comparison they have is Finding Nemo and Inside Out. This was so hard. Inside Out is a fantastic movie. It really pulls at your heartstrings. And you can't help but fall in love with Riley and all the different emotions she has inside. And then there's Finding Nemo, and it's like Pixar's grand prize to me. Like, it just draws you in with your heartstrings, and you just fall so in love with the characters. And Dory is so funny, you can't help but laugh at her. And so it was really hard, but for me, Finding Nemo won. I just really love the storyline there. I love Dory. I think Ellen DeGeneres does a fantastic job doing voices for Dory. It's just a lot of fun. And then they have Monsters, Inc. and Cars. Love both of the movies. Think they're both fantastic. Think they both have great storylines. But for me, Monsters, Inc. wins. I just think that John Goodman and Billy Crystal playing these two characters, they just have a great way of connecting, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And their jokes and humor in that movie, it makes it far overpower Cars for me. Then they paired Incredibles and WALL-E. So most of my friends will tell you that The Incredibles is a movie that, one, I have not seen, and two, I don't have a lot of interest in seeing. I have seen WALL-E. I own WALL-E. And a cool thing, if you don't know, is WALL-E actually has his name because Walt Disney's name was Walter Elias Disney. So, WALL-E. There you go. Fun fact if you didn't know that already. So, for me, though I love WALL-E, and I've never seen The Incredibles actually wins. There's not a lot of talking or conversation that happens in WALL-E, so for some people that can be really boring, whereas The Incredibles is very upbeat and keeps you interested. So, alright, so going back to the top, that puts Up and Toy Story against each other for me. And for me, this was easy because the storyline in Up is so good that at the very beginning when you meet Carl and Ellie, you need absolutely no words to follow their love story. Just the music and the picture of animation that happens, you fall in love with the two and you are heartbroken with the two, and that love story just draws you in and they didn't have to use any words, and to me that's unbelievable. So that beats Toy Story for me. Then that puts Coco and Toy Story 3 against each other for me. Again, I'm not a huge fan of sequels in movies, so although Toy Story 3 is a great sequel, Coco wins for me. I love the music. I can't help but dance every time Remember When comes on. I think the storyline's fun. So this is the winner for me. And then I have Bugs Life and Finding Nemo. Though I've told you I love Bugs Life and I think it's really funny, Finding Nemo wins for me. Again, Ellen DeGeneres just does a fantastic job as Dory, and you can't help but enjoy her character. Really, even though the movie's about Nemo, you're drawn into Dory, which is, of course, why Disney fed off the fact that they could now make a Finding Dory, and people would watch it and enjoy it. And then that puts Monsters, Inc. and The Incredibles against each other for me. Okay, so I haven't seen The Incredibles. I'm not completely connected to it, so I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me here, but for me, Monsters, Inc. wins this. I just enjoy that movie a lot. I love watching it. It's fun. I laugh. I have a good time, and I feel good at the end of it. So Monsters, Inc. wins that one for me. So that puts Up and Coco against each other. I don't know that a matchup could be any harder for me. I love both movies. I saw Coco on my honeymoon, so it's got a special place in my heart. I sing the music all the time. I enjoy it. But again, Pixar just does something with that story of Carl and Ellie without any words, and you just get so sucked in that you just want everything to work out for Carl and getting his house where he wants it. And so for me, Up wins that one, which then puts Nemo and Monsters, Inc. against each other. This really isn't much of a competition. Like I've said 100 times now, Nemo just is one of those movies that you just love. You can't help it. You can't help but love the characters, Mr. Ray, Gil, Nemo, Marlin, and of course, as I've said 100 times now, Dory. You just can't help but be connected to him. So that puts Up and Nemo against each other. And I actually surprised myself here because as much as I've bragged on Finding Nemo and Dory and how much I love it, the story of Up still wins for me. I just think it's incredible that Disney and Pixar could tell a story and not use words, and everybody just knows exactly what they're feeling and feels those emotions with them. And it's also one of those movies that makes you cry within like the first 10-15 minutes of the movie. So Up wins that one for me. So that puts the Disney side of Lion King and the Pixar side of Up against each other for me. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the winner for me is, drumroll, Lion King. It's just one of those movies that everybody is connected to, everybody loves. You're singing Hakuna Matata all the time, you can't help it. So for me, Lion King is the winner in the Disney Pixar March Madness bracket. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave comments, tell me what you think of the choices I made. I want to hear what your choices are. Let's talk about it. But please be nice to each other because, guys, this is a Disney thing and this is all supposed to be magical and fun. So I understand that you're not going to have the same opinions as me and I'm not going to have the same opinions as you, but I want us all to talk about it. So make sure you comment, share, and let's talk about what's happening in your brackets. So have a magical day.